Hello everyone! Today I'll finally be making something that you all have been so highly requesting, a shelf-stable version of my pistachio cream recipe that won't make your kanafa dough soft. This video is long awaited and I've heard all your questions, and I'm here today to show you exactly how to make your own pistachio cream from start to finish using only 4 ingredients and a food processor. I'm gonna pop the most frequently asked questions on screen and you might see yours, so stick around until the end and I'll talk through all of them and share what I found. The biggest question: can I use this for Dubai chocolate and will the kanafa dough stay crunchy? Yes, it took me a few tries, but it's finally Dubai chocolate friendly. How long do I need to process it for? It's been 8 minutes and it's still clumpy. The entire process could take 20 to 30 minutes depending on your food processor, so just keep a little bit of patience in mind. What are the ingredients and where is the recipe? For this recipe, you'll need roasted unsalted pistachios, a neutral oil, a pinch of salt, powdered milk, and sugar. And the full written recipe can be found at celinecooks.ca. I'll leave it linked for you below. What if I don't have milk powder? Can we omit it? Can I use non-fat powdered milk instead of whole milk? Yes and yes. Stick around and I'll show you how to make it with zero milk powder. How do you store the leftovers and what is the shelf life? Since there's zero additives or preservatives, you should store this in the fridge in an airtight container and it will last at least several weeks. What food processor do you use? I actually have a Ninja Super System and I'll leave the exact one linked for you in case you want to check it out. Okay, so let's talk pistachio cream because yes, I now have 2 different recipes and they each shine in their own way. The first recipe I made went viral. It's rich, super creamy, has that thick velvety texture, kind of like the popular pistachio spread from Costco, which for some reason is always sold out. Like I've never been able to get my hands on one of those, which is why I ended up making a recipe in the first place. So if you love something luxurious and creamy, this recipe is the one. It's amazing on toast, in pastries, or obviously just straight from the jar. But here's the thing, since it doesn't have any preservatives and it's made fresh without oil, you'll need to store it in the fridge and use it within about a week. It's not super long lasting. Now, enter my second pistachio cream recipe. A lot of you were asking for pistachio cream that works with the viral Dubai chocolate trend and one that is longer lasting. And if you've tried making that dessert without store-bought pistachio cream, you know the most common struggle. The pistachio cream is so good, but it softens the crunchy kataifi. Not ideal, so I made a version that will keep the crunch intact. This version has a more natural consistency, so it's not whipped and fluffy, it's more pourable, like natural peanut butter. It's easy to mix, easy to drizzle, easy to layer without softening any of your delicate ingredients. Now, in terms of how long lasting this is, I've actually been testing that. I set aside 2 batches in the fridge, one with just the pistachios and oil before adding anything else, and another one after mixing in the powdered milk and sugar. And it's been a month, and both versions have held up perfectly well. No mold, no weird smell, no separation, just as good as the day I made them. I always recommend using clean utensils and storing it in an airtight container, and you can expect this pistachio cream to last several weeks in the fridge, possibly even a couple of months. If anything changes on my end, I'll be sure to update you in the description box, or I'll leave a pinned comment below letting you know how long both versions of this pistachio cream lasted in my fridge. So to sum it up, if you want something rich, creamy, and indulgent, then you'll eat quickly, go for recipe 1. It's perfect for toast, stuffing into pastries, or layering desserts, but it's best used within a week and it needs to stay in the fridge. If you need something longer lasting, more practical, and perfect for crunchy desserts like the viral Dubai chocolate, recipe 2 is your girl, also stored in the fridge, but it will last a while. They're both delicious, it just depends on what texture you're going for and how fast you'll use it. And I'll be leaving both recipes linked below so you can try whichever one fits your cravings. Alrighty, let's get into the kataifi safe pistachio cream recipe. And in case you didn't know, kataifi is actually just like another name for the kanafa dough that's used to make the Dubai chocolate. It's the little dough that gets crunchy. Yeah. I actually went through 2 failed attempts before landing on the one that finally worked. And I did that so you don't have to. And each time I tweaked a few things, testing different combinations, and now I've got it just right. So in this next part, I'll walk you through exactly what to do and what to avoid so your version of pistachio cream turns out perfectly fine the first time. You'll need just 5 ingredients, unsalted roasted pistachios, neutral oil, salt, powdered milk, and powdered sugar. Step 1. Roasting the pistachios. Preheat your oven to 350 Fahrenheit, spread the pistachios out into a single layer on a large roasting pan and roast for 5 minutes just until fragrant. This helps bring out their natural oils and deepens the flavor. So, once the pistachios are lightly roasted and they smell amazing, we can move into step 2 and cool them lightly. Give them about 3 to 5 minutes to cool down before transferring them to the food processor. Now this short pause makes them easier for you to handle, but it also helps protect the oils from overheating during blending. Step 3. Blending into a paste. Transfer the cool pistachios to your food processor and start blending, scraping down the sides frequently. And the texture will change in several stages. I'm going to break them down for you just so you can see the different stages of the pistachios before they turn into pistachio cream, and also so you don't get frustrated if you think it's not working. And if you're a visual learner, you might find this helpful. So, at first, the pistachios will break down into small crumbs or coarse sand. The mixture will feel dry, and you'll still see small visible bits of nuts. No need to worry here, just keep going. Next, the crumbs will get finer, almost like almond flour or like a slightly gritty powder. It still feels dry at this point, but the color will be more even and greenish. Scrape down the sides of the bowl again as needed to keep everything blending smoothly. As the blending continues, the oils in the pistachios start to release, and you'll notice the mixture beginning to form little clumps or balls. This is where it starts to resemble damp cookie dough, and this is a sign that the nuts are turning into butter. Many people reach the stage and they think their pistachio cream is botched when instead they're actually really close to the finish line, so do not stop now. After this stage, the mixture will begin to smooth out into a thick, spreadable paste. If it feels too thick and your food processor is struggling, you can definitely add a small splash of neutral oil, perhaps a tablespoon or so, to loosen it up. Step 4. Adding oil and salt. Now that you've got your thick pistachio paste, it's time to add some more richness. Add a light pinch of salt, then gradually incorporate the 5 tablespoons of oil, 1 tablespoon at a time, blending after each addition. Now you'll notice the paste starting to soften and become runnier, which is exactly what we want. At this point, if you prefer pistachio cream without milk powder or sugar, you can stop here and this will be perfectly fine. You can store it in an airtight container. But if you're looking for a subtle sweetness and a silky finish, then move into step 5, which is adding powdered milk and sugar. Add the powdered milk and sugar and then blend until everything is fully combined. And with enough blending, it should have a glossy, smooth, and creamy consistency, much like a natural peanut butter. From here, you can use your discretion, guys. Taste it and let your palate guide you. If you'd like a runnier texture, feel free to gradually add more oil, 1 tablespoon at a time, until you reach your desired consistency. If you want it sweeter, add more powdered sugar, then compensate with more oil for any changes in texture. It's really up to personal preference. Step 6. Store and enjoy. So once you're happy with the texture and flavor, transfer your pistachio cream to a clean, airtight jar. Let it cool to room temperature if it's warm from blending, and then store it in the fridge. And as I've mentioned earlier, this version keeps well for several weeks, possibly even up to a couple of months. Besides storing it in an airtight jar, the biggest tip I can give you is to always use clean utensils when dipping into your pistachio cream. I've been testing both the sweetened and unsweetened batches in the fridge, as you might recall, and so far there have been no signs of spoilage after a month, but I'll keep you updated in the description box or comments if anything changes, just so you can kind of get a direct idea of when my pistachio cream went bad. Another thing to note is that the cream may firm up slightly in the fridge, but it should still be spreadable. So if it thickens too much for your liking, just let it sit at room temperature a little bit to loosen up before you use it. Let's talk about some of the common mistakes to avoid when making homemade pistachio cream. I learned a lot from my first 2 failed attempts at making this recipe, so here are a few things to watch out for to make sure your pistachio cream turns out perfectly the first time. 1. Using too few pistachios for your food processor. So if you use a small amount of nuts in a large capacity food processor, the blades won't have enough material to grab onto, and this will actually make it more difficult for the pistachios to break down properly. 2. Using a strongly flavored oil. Trust me when I say you'll want to stick with a neutral oil like avocado, grapeseed, or sunflower oil. I tested this recipe with olive oil initially, and the flavor completely took over the pistachios. Definitely not the subtle creamy taste that I was going for. Personally, avocado oil gave me the best results. 3. Removing the husks. For this particular recipe, which only uses oil as liquid, it's best to leave the husks on because they actually hold quite a bit of oil, which is essential since oil is the only added liquid in this recipe. In my earlier tests, I tried boiling the pistachios and removing the husks first, but that process stripped away a lot of the oils and moisture, and I think that's partially why those 2 attempts didn't work, because the nuts just would not break down into a paste no matter how long I blended. It was so frustrating. I would not wish that frustration on anyone. The only thing that was able to save it was either heavy cream or water. So if you're making a pistachio cream that includes liquid, like cream or milk, then yes, you can remove the husks to get that vibrant green color, like in my original pistachio cream recipe. But for this one, keep the husks on. Now, one common concern with leaving the husks on is that it can make the final cream taste bitter. But personally, I did not notice any bitterness at all, and the flavors remain well balanced even weeks later, and at this point it's been a month since I made it and everything's fine. That's it for this pistachio cream recipe. I really hope this helps you avoid the trial and error I went through, and if you do give it a try, I'd love to hear how it turned out for you. And you can drop your questions or results in the comment section of my blog right under the recipe card. I'm always reading them and always happy to help. If you actually found this video and recipe to be helpful, don't forget to like, save, and share it with someone who's been searching for a good pistachio cream and one that's Kanafido safe. Hit the follow button so you don't miss what's coming next.